Me and Jimmy was talking on the phone and everything, and I said, Jimmy, I just wanted to let you know, man, just let Hope know that I said have a speedy recovery, and I love him, man, and y'all take care. And the last thing Jimmy said to me, he said, yeah. He said, I'll let him know because he loved you. He always want to know where the player at. And I said, thank you, Jimmy. No problem. And I swear to you, Jerry, it wasn't 20 minutes later, He was dead.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to a special The Wrestling Time Machine. I'm your host, Mac Davis. Along with me are, of course, my two normal co-hosts, and they are.
Wait. What do you mean normal? Who's normal? Is there something wrong with us?
Well, I think Gerald knows, which will be our guest. I'll tell you about in a minute. But our guest knows that both of you are crazy. He's been around both of you, and I know he knows for sure that Teddy Long is crazy. But of course,
so what is your problem?
Get back, Miss Daisy. All right. Of course, they are pro wrestling journalist Mr. Bill Apter and WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long, and a special guest this week. And as I was saying to Teddy a minute ago, this is a guy that we get to hang out with at least a couple of times a year, and he is always a blast to hang around. Mr. WWE Hall of Famer Gerald Brisco. Hey, Gerald.
Hey guys, thanks so much for having me on, and I want an introduction.
Wait a minute. You're the only person, Mac, that I know that calls him Gerald. Jerry Brisco.
I'm sorry, I call him Gerald Brisco.
I'm Gerald Brisco to my close friends.
Yeah. Oh, I'm enjoying this podcast.
Hey, Bill, you've been around forever. You interviewed my brother countless times. My brother got you your original job, so you better have a little respect. If you're around my brother was talking about me. He always used Gerald. My brother never called me Jerry.
I never.
Let me ask you guys.
But you put all those words in his mouth and you used Jerry, so that's how you got Jerry attached to.
Oh, so it's Bill's fault.
Yeah, it's Bill's fault. I tell you, I always joke about Gerald. When I first got into the business, of course, I come out of college, I was Gerald Brisco. I said, okay, I like that. So I came down here to Florida. And Andy Graham said, we'll put you with Jack, but Gerald sounds a little formal. Do you mind if we call you Jack and Jerry Brisco? I said, no, not at all. Call me Jerry Brisco. Just write whatever you want to on those checks. I don't care. Jerry Brisco's good. So then when I went up to New York City with Mr. McMahon and that company up there, Vince started calling me Jerry with a G. So I went from Gerald to Jerry with a J in Florida, Jerry with a G in Connecticut. But after Vince got to know me and everybody around me were calling me Gerald, by that time I morphed back into Gerald Brisco. So my name went full circle, which I'm glad I'm a Gerald Brisco.
We called you Jerry with a J in the magazines forever.
I know the original way. But when I went to New York, the J was hillbilly. She said you sound like a hillbilly with J's. I always thought Jerry with a G was for girls.
That makes sense.
But like I said, about 6 months into my tenure up there, he got to know me and everybody called me Gerald. All the people that know me for a long time call me Gerald. And he started calling me Gerald, and I went back to Gerald.
For those who are watching and wondering why Gerald is on today's show, let me explain.
Yeah.
We recently lost Hulk Hogan at the age of 71, and we got some great experiences from these three right here on the screen right now, Bill, Gerald, and Teddy. And I'm going to kind of go back real quick with you, Gerald. First of all, when did you hear about Hulk Hogan's death, and what was your reaction?
Man, it was just like everybody else, And I'll backtrack just a little bit, if I may.
Sure.
Terry was in bad health with his neck, or bad condition with his neck surgery, and Bubba and all those guys, false news and fake news, whatever they're calling it nowadays. So I know Brian Blair had a daily conversation with the family, if not Hulk himself. So I called Brian and I said, Brian, and this is like several days before I went to Waterloo for the Traeger Says Hall of Fame up there, which is a great weekend, which you guys need to come up.
Yep.
Bill's been honored and all that, and he didn't want to come back after he got his plaque, but that's how he is. I know that. So. But it was great to honor him anyway. So anyway, where was I on this? So I called Brian. I said, Brian, how's Terry? I'm hearing all these rumors. Is he okay? Because we go way back. He said, I spoke to him and I spoke to Nick, and he said, both of them assure me that Terry's okay. And, matter of fact, he's home at this time. So everything is okay. So that was 3 or 4 days before I left, which was a week before he passed. So I went to Iowa, talked to Brian again up there. We talked about Terry, of course, Terry being Hulk Hogan up there a little bit. Everything was cool. Everything was fine. No emergency. Got back home. And so one Thursday morning, I guess it was, I got up and I turned on my computer to read my newspaper, because here in Florida we only get newspapers, actual newspapers, on Wednesday and Sunday, so you got to read it on the computer. So I'm reading my news on my computer. You know how you get notifications and all that stuff? All of a sudden this notification comes across: wrestling star Hulk Hogan dead at 71. What? So I'm just like everybody else. It was just a total shock. Of course, I had to call around to verify it was a true story. Turn on the TV, called one of my news reporter friends on Fox 13 here, and they verified the story and all that stuff. I was just devastated. I mean, it was just a shocker.
Teddy, I know that you also had a unique way of finding out. It was immediately after a phone call that you had made.
Yeah, I'll tell Jerry this too, because it's so strange. This past Wednesday, I got up and I was looking over, through my Facebook and stuff, and I was seeing, comments and stuff, about Hogan and about his health and stuff. And I'm like, man, let me check on him, because he was always good to me. So I called Jimmy Hart. And so me and Jimmy was talking on the phone and everything. And I said, Jimmy, I just wanted to let you know, man, just let Hope know that I said have a speedy recovery, and I love him, man. And y'all take care. And the last thing Jimmy said to me, he said, yeah. He said, I'll let him know, because he loved you. He always want to know where the player at. And I said, thank you, Jimmy. No problem. And I swear to you, Jerry, it wasn't 20 minutes later, He was dead.
Wow.
By the way, I take exception to that, because I teach people how to do internet stuff every day. It's just my Comcast is supposed to be booming, and it's not. But anyway, in answer to your question, very similar to what Teddy said. The night before the news came out, I talked to Jimmy Hart. Baby, the Hulkster loves you. He's doing fine. He's doing wonderful. And, he's sitting up eating dinner and everything like that. And then the next morning, I get a text from Herb Simmons, Southern Illinois Championship Wrestling. And he says, is Hulk dead? And so I started going online, and then I called Herb, and he had confirmed that he had heard it from Brian Blair, I believe. And it's still to this day, a week later, or almost a week later, I still can't fathom it. I still can't believe it. I cannot believe that he's gone, because he was one of these people and real life characters that you knew were never going to go away. And in spirit, he never has. He never will.